I'm Václav from Bastl Instruments, and I would like to introduce you like our company and our latest product, which is really big honor to me. And yeah, the Bastl Instruments, the word Bastl, like a lot of people here in Frankfurt think it's a German word, but in Czech, where we are from Czech Republic, it really means something more specific. It really means like DIY electronics. It's really dedicated word. It's really sort of a slang word dedicated to DIY electronics, and more or less the generation of my father, those guys have been really into DIY electronics, and also he taught me how to do stuff, and it's sort of reference to something we had in Czech that was sort of like growing as a background in the communist times that was really, really interesting, and it serves a big source of inspiration for how we do our stuff now. Yeah, so like the thing I have here is called Rumburack, or Rumburack as the English speaking might call it, and it's a self-contained full modular system, and because it's a module, it's not really fair. It is a drum machine, but it's sort of like designed, the selection of the modules sort of is being set so it could really work as a modular drum machine. So we can have a closer look at it. Yeah, we have those two rows. Maybe I can show the case before we start playing. The case is not 100% finished, but it's almost there. So it's really quite shallow. And this, what I have underneath is the closing lid. So you can close it with the patch cables in, and you can use it for transport. We just don't have the closing mechanism here for the MESSE because we thought it wouldn't look so good. And yeah, so that's about the case. I can guide you through the modules we chose to have in this setup. So we can maybe start with the new modules. I would really like to show you the filter. It's called Cinnamon, and it's a state variable filter, so there is high pass, low pass, band pass, and you can of course voltage control the cutoff, and I can do a bit of sweeps. And what is really interesting about this filter are those like little switches. It's really tiny detail that gives it a lot of flavor. So what we just heard was the plain functionality of the filter. So I would say that's really the plain sine wavy resonance. But if I turn, for instance, this character switch up, you can really hear the difference in the resonance. And there is another character switch, which I can also put both on. Skipping. So, and we also have a drive switch, which sort of protects the input to be overdriven when it's in the down position, but I can try to overdrive it, the input, and then really like the character switches almost like put the filter to the state of collapsing, so especially with the high resonance. Yeah, and so, and if I put down the switches again, I have this really smooth and expectable filter. Also, if I turn down the input completely and pull up the resonance, I I have a nice sine wave going on, and there is volt per octave input, which yeah, you can use it as a sine wave VCO as well. And it was interesting that on those like outputs, like on the band pass and low pass, for instance, there is 90 degrees phase shift. So it's almost like a quadrature oscillator with sine waves. But then when it's self-oscillating, also the character switches change the waveform of the oscillation. So you can use it as a VCO as well. It's not designed to be VCO, but for some quick stuff it works well. When you flip the switches, it loses the volt per octave tracking. Or at least I didn't really measure how well it performs, but it's not so much in tune when we have those. So yeah, that was the cinnamon filter. That's one of the modules we are really introducing here at MESSE.
And when is it available now?
Yes, it's available now, and it's 109 euros without tax.
Excellent.
And we have also another filter here. It's just a 2 HP module, and it's 3 filters with fixed cutoff frequency, and it's a passive filter. So it's really like a utility tool. It's sort of also, you can use it as a multiple for some signals, but yeah, basically what you can use it for is to really clean up your mix from the modular. Of course there is a signal drop because it's a passive type of filter, but yeah, it's really handy to have just 3 filters that can do simple high pass, you know. And I have it next to my noise module, so when I just take the white noise and put it through the high pass, then I can instantly use it to make hi-hat, and it doesn't really interfere with the bass. So it's really like a quick tool, and it's really cheap as well. It's 45 euros without tax. 2 HP, 3 simple filters that are tuned differently. And the last thing sort of to show here at the MESSE, like the really new thing to introduce at MESSE, it's this Trinity CV Module. The ones who are familiar with our desktop instruments, they know that we have the Trinity line, and we really like the compactness of the interface and how it sort of feels to use. And we like took it and redesigned it entirely to be what I believe the most exciting modulation source that is really small. What's really important to say is there is 6 independent channels of CV out, plus 1 more CV out in here. So just a quick intro to the interface. I have these select switches, which select like which channel I'm editing, and this one which flips if I'm in the upper row or in the lower row. Yeah. So, and each of those channels also has a CV input or sort of a gate input, and each of them could be set to one of 3 modes. So there is green is the LFO, blue is ADSR, and red is automation recording. So I can try to show you the LFO. So the LFO, I have it as it is now. There is a CV input that can control its speed, but I'm really excited to show you how you can work with the wave shape in here. So this is the rate. It goes up to audio rate. So I have now the saw ramp, and with this switch I can browse through the different wave shapes, the basic ones. I have some flopping wave shapes, and then I have a random voltage generator which can be smoothed but also looped. And what I have, like this knob here, is a XOR wave shaper, and we've used it in one of our Trinity modules to really work with the sound. But when I just had to look at the wave shape, what it just does with a simple RAM, is just very exciting waveforms. So I would just like give a bit of time so you can really hear through what it does. So yeah, basically you can hear that the XOR modulation makes it already into like tiny patterns which sort of have the LFO character, but yeah, I just think they're really great. And so yeah, that was more or less the LFO. It's pretty sophisticated. Also in the LFO there is a random voltage generator, so it can do stepped voltages and then smooth them. So and yeah, and then like after a while, if it's clocked, you can sync it to the master clock. And also each of those LFOs could be put to sync mode. If I had a clock in, then it would like sync. I could press a button to activate the syncing, and then I would have divisions of the tempo on the rate knob. And yeah, I mean, then if you like CV control the rate and it keeps in the divisions of the tempo, the LFO, yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't need anything more really for making modulation signals. So that was the LFO, yeah. Then what we have is ADSR, and yeah, I can, yeah. I just turned on looping on the ADSR because I don't really have a gate signal now going on here. So the ADSR you can loop in the AD mode. So I have the rise and fall sort of independently, and with those I can also, which one is it? Yeah, I can also set whether it's linear or exponential. So that's, I think, yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, now I activated the hold mode, so there is attack, hold and release. So yeah, so that's ADSR. The decay and release are set to the same time by just one knob. That's sort of limitation of the interface, but yeah. And the red one is automation recording. I just need to patch this clock to actually. So it's like 32 step automation. So it samples those 32 steps, and there is also like smoothing, which is still under revision in software. So there is still a little bit of work to be done. But yeah, that's basically, it's just easy like this. You tweak the knob and you have what you want to have, and it's synced to the tempo. And yeah, basically, so that's the CV Trinity module.
How much is that one?
That one is 250 without tax. And yeah, I haven't set the select output actually, which is really exciting, I have to say. There is one CV output which also shows you the current waveform of the LFO, and basically that's what it does. If I use the select switches to select different LFOs, I have the selected one on this CV output. Yeah, so you can really, yeah, use it to very quickly change like sort of presets of LFOs or like different modulation signals. And that, I think, it's really also a nice feature.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.